Please note that the information on Retire Vivid referenced in this video is accurate as of December 12th, 2024. Changes to laws and regulations may make portions of this segment outdated and no longer relevant. Information presented is for educational purposes only and is not intended to provide investment, tax, or legal advice. Please see our full disclosure at the end of this video.
Welcome to Retire Vivid. I'm Karen McCarty. That's Steve Burgett. And so we're going to talk about Medicare pitfalls. I mean, Steve, we've done an episode when it came to Medicare, right? There's all these different parts of Medicare.
Yes.
And it can be confusing for a lot of people.
It sure can, yes.
I mean, because there's A, B, C, D. I'm not going to get too deep into that. What I want to do today is I want to talk about pitfalls.
Okay.
Things that you see when you're meeting with people right here in our office.
Yes, very often.
And I want you to really dial into this stuff because, again, when it comes to penalties, when it comes to enrollment periods, people need to be aware of this stuff.
They sure do. They have a lot of questions about those things.
They really do.
Yep.
All right. Are you ready to go?
I think so.
Let's go to work. All right. So, pitfall number one.
Okay.
The penalties. I mean,
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. I mean, basically getting a penalty for not enrolling into Medicare.
The way Medicare looks at that is if you don't get enrolled when you are first eligible.
First eligible is the word.
Yeah,
Yep.
They like to say that. When were you first eligible? Then you do have a penalty. There are penalties for Part B and penalties for Part D.
Got it.
In those situations.
Okay, let's talk. So let's break it up.
Okay.
So there's Part A, but that's free for most people.
Most people, that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not talking about A. We're talking about B. So again, you weren't covered through work. Okay. Now, well, hold on. Before we get into that, if you are covered through work, Medicare looks at it as creditable coverage.
Yes,
correct?
if you do have creditable coverage at work,
Yeah.
and Medicare means by that coverage that's at least as good as what Part B would be, that coverage.
Okay.
So if you do, then you don't need to sign up for Part B yet.
Right.
But eventually, when that coverage goes away, usually that's when you retire,
right,
and that coverage goes away, then Medicare considers you first eligible at that point, and that's when you should get signed up. If you don't, and you sign up, 6 months later, a year later, 5 years later, then you will have a penalty from Medicare.
Okay.
For not signing up when you were first eligible.
And what's that penalty?
That penalty for Part B, they figure it to be 10% increase on your premium for every 12 months that goes by when you did not sign up when you could have.
Okay.
So if a year goes by, that's a 10% increase on your premium.
Okay. And then let's talk about the penalty on Part D, which is your prescription plan.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
What is that penalty?
Yeah, there's also a penalty on Part D if you did not sign up when you were first eligible, but they figure it differently. The way Medicare looks at it is there's a 1% increase on your premium for every month.
Every month.
Every month that goes by when you did not sign up when you could have.
Okay.
So after a year, that's a 12% increase. And if several years go by, of course, it's a pretty hefty increase.
Well, let's talk about that. So let's just say you have a client that came into the office and say, Steve, I don't have any prescriptions.
Yeah.
I don't want Part D.
Yeah.
Fine.
Well, and that does happen sometimes.
Okay.
People say that. But I encourage people to get signed up for Part D just because we don't want them to have a penalty down the road, when they sign up later.
Well, that's where I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So let's say they're 65, no prescriptions, but now they're 75 years old.
Yeah.
They can go to Medicare and get a Part D plan.
Yeah.
No problems.
Well.
But then they're going to say, well, that's where I'm getting at. Beware. So they're going to say, oh, yep, oh, wait a minute, when were you first eligible?
Exactly.
That's 1% per month.
Yes.
Times 10 years.
That would be a lot.
Is it a slap on the wrist and
No.
we're done?
No, that it'd be better for a lot of people if
That's not how it works.
Medicare just fined them $50 or something and be done with it.
Yeah.
But the penalty is something that you're not done with because it continues, every year. And you're going to have Part B and Part D the rest of your life, really.
rest
And
of your
so
life, yeah.
you're going to have that penalty.
All right, rest of your life.
Yeah.
Well, beware of that, folks. I mean, again, the penalty is a big one, but be careful of the water cooler talk too. I mean, just because somebody at work says you are 65, you better sign up, that's not always true.
Exactly.
That is not always true, and that is why you talk to a professional, like my man over here. Okay, let's move on to pitfall number 2.
Okay.
Enrolling in a plan that does not include your doctor.
Oh, yeah.
I know you've seen it.
Well, I have sometimes sometimes people,
You can say
sorry. Sometimes people, I've had people come in who signed up on their own. They went online, got signed up for a plan, and then they found out that, oh, gee whiz, I signed up for a plan that my doctor's not in that network.
Yeah.
So you always have to make sure that if you're signing up with an Advantage plan, those are the network plans, and you have to make sure that your doctor's in the network of the plan.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you don't want to have that problem.
Yeah, you don't want that. I mean, again, that's a big one. I mean, it could also be confusing of what plan do you pick because there's so many options out there.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the Medigap plans, you got the Advantage plans. People are very passionate, about what they pick. There's perks.
There are extras,
all the
extra
extras.
Benefits, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
to help pay for gym membership or whatever.
Yep.
But again, just beware of that. Just make sure that your doctor is in the plan. Okay. Next one, let's talk about getting a Part D plan that does not include your prescriptions in the formulary.
Yeah, all the Part D plans have a formulary, which is just a list of all of the drugs that are included. And they list them in tiers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you just have to make sure that your drugs are included in the formulary. And I help people with that sometimes to make sure that their drugs are in the formulary when they're signing up.
And again, I would assume that because there's different levels of the formulary,
yes,
correct?
Tiers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yes.
And so the higher the tier, the more expensive the plan is?
Yes, the more expensive the drug is, yes.
But Steve, going back through the plans, right, because there's A, B, C, and D, right? A and B is original Medicare, and then you got the supplements, but Part C is part of Medicare, Part D as well too. But there's also the plan. You have the plans themselves with the A, B. In terms of the alphabet soup.
Yes.
Yeah. Touch on that. I mean, because one thing people hear about is Plan G is Plan G is Plan G. What is it? Yeah. What does that mean?
You have all these alphabetical plans, like a Plan G, for example.
Yeah.
Plan G has become the most popular now because it covers the most things. Medicare puts out a chart that shows all these boxes that get checked off, and Plan G covers the most of them. And so, but what you said, Plan G is a Plan G is a Plan G, is because Medicare is what decides what a Plan G is.
Okay.
It's not a company that says, okay, here's what our Plan G is. No, Medicare says this is what a Plan G is, and they say to these companies, if you're going to offer a Plan G, it has to cover all these things. And the companies don't have to offer a Plan G, but if they do, it has to cover what Medicare says is covered in a Plan G.
All right, well, let's give our viewers a little break. We just went through a lot. We just went through 3 of the 10 pitfalls, so we got a lot more to go through with you, so make sure you stay with us. More right after the break.
Do you have questions about your retirement plan, or do you want to know if you are on the right track? We are here to help. Simply go to retirevivid.com or call the number below to schedule a 15-minute retirement review. You can speak with us about taxes, Social Security, your 401k, or any quick retirement questions at no cost to you. We are here to make retirement vivid. Schedule your 15-minute retirement review today.
Okay, welcome back. So we're going through Medicare Pitfalls. We just went through 3 of the 10. And so this is a good one because, again, we don't want people getting hurt out there, like I've already mentioned. So we've talked about a lot already, but I want to talk about this one. The HSA.
Yes.
I mean, that's a big one because, again, we talked about water cooler talk, right? People say, oh, you turned 65. You better just go sign up.
Yeah.
Pump your brakes. That may make sense for them. Does that make sense for you? So here's the thing, Steve. If you are still working, okay, and you're on your health insurance plan, Medicare looks at that as credible coverage.
Yes.
Right? So you're 65 now. You don't necessarily have to sign up for Part A.
That's right.
The time you would not want to sign up for Part A is if you have an HSA.
That's right.
Talk about it.
An HSA is a health savings account, and some people have those at work and some people don't. Mm-hmm. But people who do have one should not really sign up for Medicare yet while they're still working and they still have that HSA, because once you sign up for Medicare, meaning Part A or B, all the contributions going to your HSA have to stop.
It's done.
Yeah.
Even the employer.
Yeah.
And you may, depending on what this is a blanket across the board, but you could be paying back some too.
That's
and you
true.
get penalized for it.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got to be careful of
So
that.
you don't want that, yeah.
So again, be careful. Just because somebody says you better sign up or you're going to get penalized. I mean, that's why people are thinking. They're thinking penalties.
Yeah, yeah.
But again, just be careful.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody who knows what they're doing.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So once again, if you're still working, you're on. So just recapping, if you're still working and you're on your health insurance plan through work and it's credible and you have an HSA, you don't want to sign up for Part A.
And when you have that creditable coverage at work too, you also don't need Part B.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
A or B until you retire or your insurance, your coverage ends.
Yeah. But again, that's a big one because people do contribute to those HSAs, and I don't like it seeing people get hurt. Okay, that's a good one. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, number 5.
Okay.
Using a doctor who opts out of Medicare.
Occasionally you'll run into doctors who have opted out of Medicare. Medicare says it's 1.1% of all the doctors in the country who opt out of Medicare. So that's not very many. It doesn't happen very often, but it could happen. Usually when it happens, it's because somebody has gone to a specialist, maybe a podiatrist or a dermatologist or somebody like that who has their own practice. They're not part of a large group, and they have decided to opt out of Medicare. So if you have Medicare and you're going to a doctor like that, your Medicare won't be accepted by that doctor. You just pay that doctor what they charge, and it doesn't even go through Medicare.
Well, so just be careful of that.
Yeah.
Okay, number 6, canceling your health insurance through work before you get on Medicare.
That doesn't happen very often, but it
Not
can.
very often, but I've seen it.
But me too. And what happens, the reason it can happen is because that initial enrollment period is your birthday month and 3 months prior to that and 3 months after that.
Yeah.
So let's say you do sign up early for your Medicare and you get your Part A and Part B, and they're effective before your 65th birthday, and they're effective before you retire. And so you figure, okay, I've got my Part A and B, and I can just cancel my other coverage. Mm-hmm. Well, you have to really check that Part B effective date. Just because you have your card in your hand doesn't mean that it's effective yet.
Right.
Medicare looks at that Part B date, and usually what that date is, it's your birthday month. Medicare usually goes by the first of a month, and so it's the first day of your birthday month, usually. And so you don't want to cancel other insurance before that.
Right.
Once in a while people do, because they've got their card and they think, okay, I'm covered. Yeah. But just check that Part B date.
And one thing when you help out with people, because you do help people sign them up for Medicare plans, and that's one thing I love about you, is you don't lean people one way or the other in terms of choosing a supplement or a Medicare Advantage plan.
Right.
And plus, it's individual insurance anyway. So
Yeah.
like if we have a married couple, one spouse could do a supplement and the other one could do an advantage plan.
That's right. They sometimes do.
Yeah, and I love that about you, that you give people their options,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't help them unless they have their Medicare number, right?
That's right.
And
Yeah.
that's why that Medicare card is so important. So,
Yeah.
so how soon would you, I mean, I know you said 3 months, but I mean, how fast, so okay, somebody signs up for Medicare Part A and B. How fast are you seeing it in terms of them getting their card in the mail?
Well, usually, and what Medicare says is in a couple of weeks, you'll get your Medicare card.
Okay.
Once you've signed up either online or by calling them to sign up for
And
Part
how
A
do they
and B.
do that for our viewers? I mean, how do you sign up for Medicare for those that want to do it themselves? Where online?
Sure. Well, you can go to the Social Security site, which is just ssa.gov, and you go there, and the site always changes a little bit. The pictures are different and all of that, but they always have somewhere on there that says Medicare or enroll in Medicare. And you can go there and you can sign up yourself if you want to for Part A and or Part B if you're ready to do that.
Right.
If you need some help with that, we can help you with that, but people
Sure.
can also do it themselves. You can also just call. You can call Medicare, which is 1-800-MEDICARE,
Yep.
and they will get you enrolled in Part A and B.
Yeah, I mean, online's pretty simple, but
Yeah.
you know how some people would like help just today because they fear of messing something up.
Yeah.
But again, don't be thinking that, hey, I'll get my card in a couple of weeks. I mean, you need to plan for this in advance.
Yeah, sometimes it takes longer than that. Yes, yes.
I mean, Steve, there's so many things that we want our viewers to be made aware of, but that's also why we offer that 15-minute retirement review.
Sometimes people just have a simple question, and maybe they find out, hey, I don't need to get enrolled yet, but they wondered, and so they just had a question to ask. So we can help them with those kind of things.
That's right. I mean, we do encourage people to take advantage of that 15-minute retirement review. So, Steve, wait, there's more. We got a lot more to go through with you all. Make sure you stay with us. I got 4 more pitfalls right after the break. Okay, we're wrapping up Medicare pitfalls, and so Steve, we got 4 more to go through with you. This one right here is actually a big one. I mean, assuming that Medicare will pay for long-term care costs.
Some people do assume that,
Yeah.
and it does not. Medicare does not pay for long-term care. Medicare does do some coverage for some skilled nursing kinds of coverage that sometimes is needed, but actual long-term care is considered custodial care,
Yeah.
and Medicare does not include that. So
Right.
it's important for people to know that that's not.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, first off, it's a tough subject.
Yeah,
It's not getting any better,
no.
and it's getting expensive. I mean, if there's anything that feels like that's keeping up with inflation, it's long-term care costs,
Yeah.
especially here in the metro. I mean, how do you pay for it? I mean, that's a whole nother episode, but I mean, but Medicare, you just beware of that. That's why it's a pitfall, because like, oh, hey, Medicare's going to take, that's not how it works.
Right.
That's not how it works.
It's not.
Yeah. How about this one? So, there's different star ratings when it comes to enrolling in a plan. And so let's talk about enrolling in an Advantage plan with a low star rating. Why is that a pitfall?
Yeah, that's not a good thing to do. What Medicare does every year, they give all the Advantage plans and actually also the Part D. So all the Part C and Part D plans, they're part of Medicare. So Medicare gives them all a star rating from 1 star to 5 stars. 5 is the highest. They do that every year. And they rate them on the basis of 52 different categories of things. Some things are real simple, like on average, how long do people wait in the waiting room? Things like that.
Yeah.
But some of the things are more complicated, or things we don't normally think of as patients. Whenever you go to the doctor does something, and that something is coded somehow. somebody in the back room who you probably never see puts in a code into the system for what the doctor did. And so if there's a mistake there in the coding, then the bill is wrong and things down the road are wrong and causes a lot of problems. So Medicare even looks at that. They look at those kind of things that we don't normally think of, and they look at customer complaints. And on the basis of all these 52 things, Medicare gives every Part C Advantage plan a star rating every year. So it's best to stick with the plans that are rated high.
Right.
You don't want to find a plan that's low. Sometimes in the advertising, it can sound great, but the star rating might not be so great.
Right. That's a good
So
point.
we try to stick with the plans that are like 4 stars and up. Actually, Medicare says 4 stars and up are all excellent, but they go by half. Like, so 3 stars, 3.5, 4 stars, 4.5, 5 stars. So that's an important factor.
Absolutely it is. I mean, I'm glad that you brought it up, because again, when you got all the insurance companies, which one do you pick? And some people when they come in, they kind of tell you saying, hey, I've had some really good luck with this insurance company. And then they just say, they kind of know what they want.
That's true.
Sometimes the perks kind of get people swayed one way. Or
Yeah, that's true too.
Pay for that gym membership.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's right.
Well, let's talk about this one. I mean, there are people that are struggling out there, right? And so, thinking that you cannot afford the cost of Medicare.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, people need help too. So address that.
There are some help. There is help out there for Medicare. Some programs will help people pay for their Part B premium. And some other things that they'll help pay for, but you have to seek that out, and you can find out through Social Security. You can find out through your Department of Health Services, other places you can go to online to find help for the cost of Medicare.
Right. So for people that are seeking help, call Social Security or call Medicare.
Yeah, that's right.
And just see what your options are out
there. Sure. They will help you through it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, the last one. Here we are. Drive it home, Steve. Okay, so working with an advisor who is not AHIP certified.
That's right.
What is that?
Sure. Well, Medicare has a certification program that people can go through, advisors can go through. Not everybody does that, but I've done it, and I did it because I wanted to be able to help people with all the different plans. If you get that certification from Medicare, then you are certified to actually talk to people about the Advantage plans. Otherwise, you can't, and all you are supposed to talk about are the supplements. But I wanted to be able to talk about all of them, all the different options that people have, and let people choose what they feel would be best for them. And so that's what that certification is for. Yeah. And you have to do it every year because Medicare changes every year, and all these plans change every year a little bit, sometimes a lot. And so you have to do that certification. But like I say, not everybody does that. So it's an important thing to check if you're talking to somebody if they have that certification from Medicare.
Yeah, well, that's why I love working with you. I mean, you're a straight shooter, and that's one thing I love. I mean, that's what people want. They want transparency, not to be pushed or sold a plan, right? I mean, what makes sense for you? I mean, and that's why we're doing this show. I mean, about as open as we can be when it comes to that. And so I really appreciate what you offer and your knowledge and you taking care of our clients. And so thank you for doing this show today. I really appreciate it.
Hey, I'm glad to do it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to do more. So, but we're done for today. So,
okay.
Anyways, folks, I hope you learned something today. We're here to help you, guide you, give you the tools that you need so you can make an informed decision during your own retirement journey. And remember, we're on every weekend. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you record us. We got a lot of good stuff that we share with you. And of course, if you ever have questions, you give us a call. We'll catch you next time right here on Retire Vivid.
Cameron McCarty is an investment advisor representative of Vivid Wealth Management, a SEC registered investment advisor located in Des Moines, Iowa. Investment advisory services are offered through Vivid Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance products and services are offered through Vivid Tax and Wealth Advisors, and individually licensed and appointed agents. Tax planning and preparation services are offered through Vivid Tax Center, LLC. Vivid Wealth Management and Vivid Tax and Wealth Advisors do not provide tax or legal advice. Vivid Wealth Management, Vivid Tax and Wealth Advisors, and Vivid Tax Center are affiliated companies. Vivid Wealth Management, Vivid Tax and Wealth Advisors, and Vivid Tax Center are not affiliated or endorsed by the Social Security Administration, Centers for Medicare or Medicaid Services, or any government agency. Steve Burgett is a licensed insurance professional with Insurance Plus LLC. Insurance Plus LLC is not affiliated with Vivid Tax Center, Vivid Wealth Management, and Vivid Tax and Wealth Advisors. Information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. The presented opinions and information are not intended to provide health insurance, investment, tax, or legal advice. All information provided is deemed reliable, but is not guaranteed and should be independently verified. Case studies and examples presented are hypothetical and used to demonstrate a concept. These studies do not represent actual clients or results. Similar or even positive results cannot be guaranteed. Past performance is not indicative of future performance. Therefore, no current or prospective client should assume that future performance of any specific investment strategy, including the investments and/or investment strategies recommended by Vivid Tax and Wealth Advisors, or product referenced directly or indirect, will be profitable. Different types of investments involve varying degrees of risk, and there can be no assurance that any specific securities, investments, investment strategies, or services discussed will be suitable for any investor. Be sure to first consult with a qualified insurance agent, financial advisor, tax professional, and/or attorney before implementing any strategy discussed herein.